Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today we are going to see if we can get one of our table runner kits onto the long arm machine. So most of our table runner kits, we will do what's called stitching in the ditch when we quilt them. So this runner was made envelope style, put front to back, flipped, and then stitched on the straight single needle machine. So I just did this without putting it on a long arm machine. And it looks great, but sometimes you want to do a fancier quilting pattern. So we're going to see if we can get this guy in the long arm machine. So the kits come with a backing that's slightly larger than the top. It's not a lot larger than the top, but what I did is I centered the top on the back and I stitched right around the edge of the top. Then I flipped it over and I stitched right here along the edge with the backing just to the batting. And so that should give me enough here to be able to pin onto the long arm. Normally if you're doing a quilt, you would want a couple of extra inches all the way around, but this is enough. So we've got it all prepared. I'm going to take the center, go to my center mark on my canvas here, and I'm just going to pin it along this edge. And I'm just going to pin it really close to the edge. Now if I'm doing a bigger quilt, I will leave my pins farther apart. But because I don't have much extra, I'm going to keep the pins fairly tightly spaced and right near the edge of the canvas. So we'll just pin this all the way along the top here. And then we'll do the same thing on the bottom. This is a very pretty flowery group of prints. It's called Berries and Blossoms. This is from Maywood Studio. This is one of the pods that we cut for Maywood Studio. And the pattern's called Sister's Choice. So I demonstrated how to sew the blocks together and how to put the runner together on our last video. So I'm just taking a big bite, what we call a big bite with the long corsage pins, and that keeps the runner in place. When I'm all done with the quilting, we'll just take it off, trim off the excess batting and backing, right up next to the raw edge of the top, and then we'll put our binding on. Okay, we've got that whole side on. Now I'm going to pin the other edge on. Again, I've got the middle of my canvas marked. I'm putting it right in the middle of the runner there. And now we'll pin along this edge. Again, just with us very close to the edge. And because I stitched the back to the fleece, it's pretty stable even though I'm not pinning through the top. Everything will stay in place. So most runners, like the log cabin one I was showing you a moment ago, I can quilt those on my single needle straight stitch machine in the ditch in about 10 minutes. But this pattern is longer and more complex. It takes me quite a long time to quilt it in the ditch, probably take me 45 minutes. So I think I can do this quicker on the long arm. And the pattern, of course, will be much more intricate. We have a computerized Gamble, the Statler stitcher. So I've got quite a few patterns to choose from. And I'm going to do one today called Botanical Blossoms. It's got flowers of various sizes, and I think it's very compatible with the prints that are in this runner. All right, it's all pinned on. Take the pins off. Now we'll just tighten it up a little bit. And we'll put our Velcro side straps on. So this will keep the whole top nice and flat. And we'll go to the far end, do the same thing. Now we just want to make sure that when we quilt this, we don't run into our pins. So I'm going to quilt it a little bit in from the edge. I'm not going to try to go all the way up off. Same thing down here. And of course the raw edges will get covered with the binding. So let's measure how tall it is. We want to quilt a space that's, I'd say 12 3/4, 12 1/2, maybe 12 1/2. So we will change this to 12 1/2. I'm going to reset it so we can. So we've got 12 1/2 tall, and then we'll tell the machine to measure it. Again, we don't want to go all the way to the edges, so let's see. Let's go about this wide. To about there. Okay, it's 58 1/2. All right, so that's what it's going to quilt. So we're going to tell it to start in the upper right corner. And we're going to move it up there. And I'm actually going to move my clips back just a little bit because I just don't have that much extra space here. So this is where we want it to start. Upper right. Now it's going to take it to the starting position, and if we like where that spot is, then we'll tell it to go, and if we don't, we will try it one more time. So that is not quite wide enough there. We'll try that again. Let's get it to remeasure. That isn't looking quite right. So let's go measure. Yes. All right, so we'll mark it here. Okay. 3/4. Okay. Now let's go to the start again. Try it one more time. See if it looks a little better this time. I could still do it a teensy bit wider, so I'm just going to cancel it, make it a little wider. There we go. Okay, third time's charm. So I'm using a lavender thread on the top, lavender thread on the bottom. I like to keep the thread colors kind of light. That's better. All right. Off it goes. So now my work is done. The machine will finish the quilting. And you can see on the computer here, this is the pattern we're going to do on there. And I think that will complement the patchwork very nicely. So if you like the video, give it the thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.